told y'all this story was going to blow up. I knew it. I knew it was going to come national. I don't know if it went national. I mean, it's on TMZ. I don't know if it's anywhere else because I haven't checked. But apparently, we're going to get both sides of the story in this clip. So are you ready? Let's check this out right now.
TMZ Live, we have heard now for years about the controversy over women, transgender women in women's sports.
I'm hearing that this woman lives in LA. Why was she surprised? Why was she surprised? I don't understand how she was surprised. That's like one of the wokest cities in the world, correct? Okay.
Heard about transgender women using women's bathrooms. This has been an issue in Washington, D.C. It was an issue at Gold's Gym in West Hollywood over the weekend, and it got explosive.
Yes, when singer Tish Hyman, had enough, and she let...
That's hilarious, considering she's a woman and she's lesbian. Tish Hyman. That's just... jokes write themselves.
The people at Gold's know that she was very upset that she had gone into the locker room and seen male genitalia. This is just a little bit of Tish letting everyone at Gold's know what was going on, and then she's going to join us to talk about what the repercussions were for this.
Okay.
Gold's Gym! Men!
That's the first video I saw. I didn't even talk about that the other day when I did my video, but that was the first video I saw. And then I ran across one with her telling her story. I was like, okay, let me do a reaction and talk about that one.
Grown men with big in the women's locker room. And that's why I'm getting kicked out. And I want to make sure the girls know. Everybody saw that man in the locker room. No one's saying. And I'm done with it.
Everybody quiet.
Stupid. It's dangerous.
Those girls to the right just trying to have a conversation. They just trying to...
I'm terminated for not wanting men in the locker room.
So she has had her membership at Gold's revoked.
Yes.
I'm highly surprised that she's surprised living where she lives. I just don't know why she was surprised to see him. Knowing the laws out there and what they push. I'm just...
Before she left, she was able to confront the person that she saw in the locker room. So joining us now to talk about it is Tish Hyman. Tish, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hi guys, how you doing? I'm sorry I look a little afraid, but
You look great. Don't worry about it.
So
no, you look tired as all hell.
Your position here. We want to hear.
About 4 weeks ago, the first encounter happened. I was naked. I was drying up and oiling up. I turned around, and there's a man in the locker room. And so, of course, I'm shocked. I'm like, I thought maybe I missed the sign and that there were workers working. So I just said, sir. I didn't even get to say a sentence or anything. I just was in shock and figuring out that...
I never understood the people that like to walk around the locker room butt naked. I don't. And like... almost every guy I can think of that I know does not do it. So who are the ones that are doing it? Now I heard some guys talking about something the other day, and they're like, it's like nothing but the old dudes or the gay dudes that walk around naked. And it's like you catch eye contact with them, and it's like that. He said that's really awkward. Now I don't look at nobody. I don't look no man in the eyes when I go into a locker room or a bathroom. Listen, it's not happening. So. I do know that, and I wasn't alive at that time, but I know at one time, everybody had to shower in school and, take phys ed and shower and stuff, and maybe those are the old men. But I could definitely see some gay dudes walking around because guys are, just the way men are wired, always looking for some action. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like if you can show off and maybe, catch the attention of another gay man. I could see that, dudes doing that. And she's a lesbian. So I don't know why is that why she's butt naked in the gym? Locker room? I don't know. Like, every woman I've ever dated never gets naked in the girls' locker room, in the women's locker room. So I don't understand that. That just wouldn't be me. I just ain't doing it. I don't need to show you what I got. I think it's weird seeing a bunch of hairy dinglings walking around and butt cheeks, and I just every time I see it, I'm like, good Lord. Good thing I don't see it that much no more. So, because the main gym I frequent, the locker room and the bathrooms are separate. So, matter of fact, a LA Fitness that I used to go to, one dude told me, he was like, yo, go online, look up like LA Fitness. And like, I forgot the words he said to type in. And he did it on his phone. He was like, look. And it was like a meetup spot for gay dudes at the locker room. Like, it was kind of like, yo, here at this time. And one of them was the LA Fitness I was going to. I was like, yo, this is wow. So, I don't know, but whatever. Let's continue with this story. I always got funny anecdotal stories. Y'all know this.
There's a man behind me while I'm naked. And I say, sir. And then he goes, you can't tell me nothing, B word, I'm a woman. And I'm like, what? Now, listen, guys, I
must have all clicked for her right there, what was going on.
have anything against anyone. So I was just in shock. I've never been presented with this in my whole entire life. So I'm just in shock, and I go, start screaming.
Remember the other day when I told y'all, like, I've read some stuff where, like, the LGBTQ community, they have infighting, and they're not all really united like that. And I've heard that the L and the G want to separate from the T. And this is one of those situations where I'm like, she was shocked. She's lesbian. She's the L. And she was shocked at this in LA and didn't know what to think. You see what I'm saying? So not all of them are down with certain things that are going on that we see pressed in the news so much. You know what I mean?
And asking for help. The people come into the locker rooms and they kind of escort him out, but not out of the gym, just out of the locker room so I could get dressed. And then I made a report and nothing was followed up on.
You know what? I'm going to ask my lesbian friend if she, let me see, if she, when she goes to the gym, I don't even know if she goes to the gym. She's in good shape though. I'm going to see if she, when she goes to the locker room, does she get naked? Hey, I'm doing a video right now. I got a question. Are you a woman that goes and when you go to the locker room, if you do go to the gym, but if you go to the gym, when you go to the gym, do you get butt naked in the gym, changing, showering, getting dressed or whatever? Let me know. Let me see if she answers.
And that was an experience that I couldn't even believe, and I had to understand this. So now I'm processing this, still trying to keep up with my life. I go back to the studio, I work. The next day I do it. I try to do my same routine, go to the gym. I say, maybe this is an isolated incident. The next day I go there and I run into this perpetrator, this predator, because I have to call it like it is. This guy, and I'm coming into the gym, so I'm just already traumatized from yesterday being naked, and now I'm seeing a whole nother dude that's bigger than the last dude in the room. So now I'm like, sir.
Hey, Tish, I'm sorry, I just want to mention something because this wasn't clear to me before
Two different dudes
started talking to you. So there were two.
Yeah, when she initially told the story, it kind of seemed like it was only one dude.
Different people
There
on
are
consecutive
multiple
days?
people. There are multiple people. The reason why I spoke out like this, guys, is because I've had this experience with trans women in the women's locker room disrespecting me, not meeting me with any empathy, literally men who are crazy. And this happened like 6 to 7 times in the last 3 to 4 weeks. It hasn't been a month since the first time it happened.
So
To me.
I'm not trying to be gratuitously graphic, but were the people that you saw in the locker room undressed?
Were they completely naked walking?
I don't
let
think
me
they
be
were.
clear. I want to get into this to the
way she made it sound like they were not naked. So let's see.
the details because it's important. The details. Now,
But she did just say men with big. So maybe one of them or both were.
were the men naked? No.
Okay.
They were men in men's clothing in the locker room. They don't need to be naked to be scary as hell. So
How you know they had big? I guess she was being extra with that part, dude.
get through to this because I need the people of the world to understand what's happening here. This happened
Slade was
6 to
wearing
7
biker
times
shorts.
in a 30-day period. Of course, I was fed up by the time y'all saw this. So the second time, this guy, I walk into him in the locker room and I say, "Sir, you just can't be in here like in this tone because I'm just like I can't believe I'm walking into this a day after this happened to me the first time." And he goes, "Bitch." Excuse my language, because I think on TV, I'm sorry. He says, "B word, I'm a woman. Get with it. Get the out of the locker room if you don't like it." And I'm in shock. I'm like, are you kidding me? So now I'm like, all right, let me read the law. Because there's no way that there's no protection on women. I just couldn't believe it. And the more I went out there and started reading, I was like, oh snap, there is no protection for women. So now I'm like, okay, how do I combat this? Because these two first experiences happens at the Gold's Gym in Hollywood. So I'm like, okay, maybe this is some special location where they're like, I don't know. Let me go to the gym in Beverly Center that I've been
Got
paying
special rules,
overpriced for freaking 3 years, waiting for them to open it, and they finally opened it. Maybe this will be better. I go in the restroom and I have my beautiful day. The locker room you gotta understand, the girls in the locker room, we're not in there like communicating and all of that. We're just chilling. We're doing our things. If somebody's in the mirror lotioning up, another one's dancing, another one's going into the sauna. We're girls, guys. And I don't know what's your imagination, but we don't want men in there. It's scary. So here we are. I'm in the locker room.
Well, Tish, can I stop you for a second because I apologize for this because we're out of time.
Snap.
No, it's okay. I mean, I think you've laid out the story.
It's dangerous.
I just the one final thing.
She was turning it into a long story.
And I think this is important, that these were not transgender women who were.
You want to hear a long story? You talk to Scarlett. You ever see her in public? Stop her and talk to her. You want to ask her a question that sets her off on a story. You're going to be like, oh, you know what? I gotta. She's the first woman I've ever dated that is the stereotype of women talking a whole lot. Sometimes I'll be like, all right, babe, listen, get to the point of the story, cuz.
Presenting as women, they were presenting to you as men. Is that right?
These were transgender women who said they were transgender women and told me that they were women. I'm not going to get into the who presented game over here.
Well, I think it's important.
Well, the one dude, I mean, absolutely is not passing. Absolutely. You know, but nothing like Blair White. You know, Blair White from certain angles is passing. And I've seen certain angles with Blair, and I'm like, oh, okay, I can tell. But certain angles, you know, like from every angle, even from above, you know who that person is, you know, so.
I think that's important. You said they were obviously men. So,
they were men, and they were telling me they were trans women, and that's how they identified. And honestly, not all of them. The one I saw the last day that I worked at Gold's Gym, who saw my naked body, the last day that they terminated my membership, came in there and said, "Lucky I ain't catch you outside." A black passing, quote-unquote, trans woman.
Okay, all right. So your
Ready to
membership
fight.
has been revoked. And
We need to cancel gym memberships all around America because
I've definitely seen that in public. Like, a lot of gay men. I've seen several situations where gay men want to fight women. You know, I already know straight men put their hands on them, but it's almost like this was years before the whole trans debate popped up. But I would see these situations, and I'm like, because I would see, like, sometimes women arguing with gay men, and the women would be like, "You wanna be me? You wanna be me?" And I thought about that for a second one time. I was like, maybe they're so apt to fight women because some of them truly believe they are women. And I was like, just something tucked back here in the back of my mind, And then with the whole trans thing, there you go,
no protection for women's safety. If you stand up for women, if you have a daughter, you have a sister, there were girls in there who were traumatized, and they're thanking me for being there. And I didn't do this for any attention or anything. I did this because I was genuinely
scared girl.
that no one was going to be there to warn the girls. There are no signs in there to tell the girls, hey, there are men in here. No one cares.
We got it.
Where are the bathrooms? Gold's just built that gym in Beverly Center. Why didn't they put a trans restroom in there if they care much? Huh?
Fair point.
No one cares about women if they care. Gold's just built that gym in Beverly Center. Why didn't they put a trans restroom in there if they care much?
Oh.
Fair point.
Interesting.
I get the fair point.
Yeah. They just built it, and you know what people were saying, basically? It was like, yeah, because if they did, then they would say that you're discriminating against them. That this is Jim Crow again. Like, oh, why we gotta have a trans bathroom? We're really men or we're really women. And I was like, oh, yeah, that would happen.
Tish, thank you. Thank you very much. We so
Thank you,
appreciate you
gentlemen.
coming on.
I appreciate you, Harvey. Thank you so much for sharing the story, guys.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tish.
Okay.
Well, joining us now is one of the people that that Tish says she confronted in the locker room. Her name is Alexis Black, and she's joining us now. Alexis, welcome to TMZ Live.
Hi.
You know what that is, right?
Alexis Black, and she's joining us now. Alexis.
I'm going to tell you what that is right there. I'm still here and you not. Where your membership at? You ain't got no membership no more. That's what that is. Oh, my God. Come on.
Welcome to TMZ Live.
Hi. Hey, Alexis. So, we spoke with Tish, and she said when she came face to face with you, it was obvious to her you were a man. So, I don't want to get terribly graphic here, but can you kind of explain, how you appeared? Do you believe that she was reading something in?
Alexis Black sound like a certain type of stage name, if you know what I mean, fellas.
That you
don't say it, don't,
appear
because it do.
to be male. She perceived you to be such.
Well, first, I told the people that raised me that this is the way that I was when I was 8 years old, and really I stuffed it down pretty deep, and I began using hormones this year in February, and I actually relinquished that information to her about, name change, and it says female on my ID, and hormones, and I'm registered as a female with the gym, so.
And were you at that moment, because she told us about a couple of different encounters, were you fully clothed at that moment?
Well, she has become aggressive with me on 4 different occasions, actually at different locations in Los Angeles at Gold's Gym. But,
Wow, so she's ran into him several times. Interesting, because she has said that she's had several run-ins with trans men. Apparently, it keeps being this one dude, and apparently a couple others.
Fully clothed. I believe
Did I
I was
say trans
in a
men or trans women? I can't.
robed in a towel on one occasion, and this last time I was clothed the entire time. Yeah.
Okay.
Again, I apologize if this is too graphic, but I just think it's important.
Let's speak truth, baby.
Okay. Have you fully transitioned?
Be clearer when you say that.
You know,
Your genitalia.
come on. You know exactly what he means by that.
That is a process that requires a quite lengthy work.
Just say
like,
no.
For instance, I sat in a chair and had hair follicles removed from my face for 2 hours yesterday in a process called electrolysis.
He knows exactly what he meant by fully transition. Come on now.
In order to have that surgery down there, one must have every single hair done that. In order to do that, it would take would just say a year or two to have that done. It's literally not even a possibility with where I am in my transition.
So look, from her perspective, I'm just wondering if you see her perspective. She's saying that she's looking at you, say, in a towel, and you still have male genitalia, and you may be transitioning, but could you understand her being uncomfortable?
Well, I certainly do not understand it, but I do
not
get the notion of the fear-mongering that she's perpetuating. The truth in the moment is far from what she is purporting it.
I told y'all I felt strange seeing a woman walk out of the men's room when I was at that. I was like, whoa, wait, what? And like I said, your peripherals working. When you know how it is, guys. You go in the locker room, you go to the urinal. You see a woman pass by in your peripherals. Wait, what? What's that? Like, you know what I'm saying? That's kind of a weird feeling.
To be. Literally every time that she's done that, I've had women in the locker room comforting me because of how aggressive she was towards me.
So she was saying, why don't they have a third bathroom? Especially the gym you're talking about at the Beverly
She
Center.
also said a bunch of women were like, yeah, like what's he doing in here? So apparently there's women on both sides.
That's been recently built. And
there are women on both sides because people are always like, well, y'all voted for this. That's what he's saying.
They had a layout that they could have adjusted and they could have put a third locker room in. Do you think that would have been appropriate, or do you feel like you are as entitled to use the women's locker room just as Tish is?
That's a great question. I'm glad that she said it, that you have put it on the air. And the answer is that would necessitate two different ones, because some people trans MTF, some people go FTM. And so that's two rooms right there. You're not going to put a trans woman with a trans man just because we're trans. That seems like a new envelope of discrimination. But it's just like, I feel like this had to happen.
I'm sure they got the room for two more locker rooms. So, I mean, I've never asked this question. If there are any trans men that watch me, do you feel comfortable being it? Well, I mean, would you? This is never tried to wrap my head around this. So I would assume that you would feel. Well, you've been going to the women's locker room forever. If you go into the men's locker room and you've transitioned, whether you have that piece of meat cut out of your leg or arm and grafted onto you or not, do you feel comfortable with all them dangalangs swinging around? And especially if they notice, if they're looking at you in a way it's kind of like they're trying to figure something out, or they know, do you feel comfortable? And what makes me wonder is more trans women comfortable with going into the women's locker room than trans men are comfortable with going into the men's locker room.
In order for people to learn about trans, it's a thing. We're here. We're going anywhere. We've been here for thousands of years. There's 10 species of animals on Earth that do this too, just by the way, everybody. And but about the bathroom, Am I entitled to it? I know that I'm a woman. Should they have built another one to necessitate building this room? People would have to have the level of comfortability within themselves that I do. Not everyone possesses this much self-feminine power. It doesn't happen. Not in this patriarchal system of which we've been living for so long.
Okay. All right.
Ain't gonna be no
Alexis, we appreciate
this
you
ain't
joining
gonna
us.
get resolved.
This is clearly going to be something that Golds is going to have to.
You see how they look?
and a lot
They
of
like.
things. Yes.
Thanks for the time. Appreciate it.
Yeah, I've been kicked out of Planet Fitness and Crunch.
That's the punchline at the end. I'm done. Post your comments down below. Let me know what you all think. If you enjoyed my thoughts on this and my thinking, my critical thinking, trying to figure this all out, hit the like button. Oh, you know what? Let me see if she actually replied. Hit the like button, subscribe, and share. She did not even see it. So I'll unsend it. There we go. I'll just ask her whenever I get a chance. 10 million subscribers. Woo!